we have Mr. Gunjan Singh. Mr. Gunjan Singh is an advocate in Supreme Court and a litigation head from Human Rights Law Network Organization. He has been associated with various organizations like Tata Institute of Social Sciences, International Labour Organizations. He is also an alumnus of Aligarh Muslim University. I would request Swami sir to honor the guest with the planter. Now I would request Amrish sir to present the DME kit to the guests. Before we begin with our session, I would request Swami sir to give a brief on this whole lecture and for the writing.
Advocate Mr. Gunjan and dignitaries present on the stage and my dear students and teachers. I hope everybody knows what is ragging, and I'm also sure everybody sitting here is aware of the Aman Khajru ragging case, after which things have changed in this context. Before that particular case, which happened in a medical college at Kangra in Himachal Pradesh, before that case, ragging was there, but it was not taken in the way it is now being taken. Today we have an advocate from the Supreme Court of India who will be telling us about the bad things about ragging and also its legal implications. From this stage, I can also issue a warning in a way that yes, don't fall into ragging. It is something which may land you behind the bars. I am very sure all of you would be understanding this concept, and after this lecture, all of you would be sincerely avoiding what we call ragging or bullying. Thank you.
Mr. Gunjan Singh, our guest for the day, my colleagues and students. Obviously, we have gathered here to listen to Mr. Gunjan because he has an expertise in this area. And when we say ragging, obviously he will be talking about the legal aspect of the whole issue. But there are more aspects to it. There are sociological aspect also. There are issues related to human behavior and relationship. So those things also need to be looked into. Because it's a responsibility of the senior. That is how we decided to organize this session for the students who are already here for the last 1 year and who are in the second year, because it's their responsibility to take care of their juniors when they join the college. So it's like in our families also, if there's a elder brother and sister, it's their responsibility, or it is his or her responsibility to take care of his or her siblings. So that kind of approach need to be developed. But then, since there are legal implications of ragging, so that must also be known to everybody, to all seniors. If somehow they have the mindset that they have to welcome their freshers in an unwelcome manner, then what could be the implications, what could be the consequences of that. So keeping that in mind, we have invited Mr. Gunjan to take this session. And I believe that, you can also ask questions to him if there are certain doubts in your mind with regard to the legal aspect of the whole thing. And I believe that his session will be enlightening and fruitful to everybody. Thank you.
Ragging has ruined countless innocent lives and careers. Despite stringent rules and laws, we do come across cases of ragging. Of late, recently, in fact, if you have heard, Raghu, a student of Singh as a medical college, he hung himself for allegedly getting ragged constantly for a period of 6 months. So we have such kind of cases coming up. More recently, the Gujarat University expelled 3 students on the cases of ragging. So to enlighten you and to inform you and make you aware, I now invite Gunjan Singh to take this lecture forward.
Good morning, everyone. Just don't treat me as a son now. Treat me as your friend, as an elder brother, because that is how we're going to make this session. See, I don't want this to be a one-way lecture where I'm considered as an expert. I'm not an expert. I also went to college a couple of years back, and I too experienced ragging. And I think most of you, in somehow or the other, must have at some point of time have experienced bullying. I haven't met a single person in my life who would say that I have not experienced ragging, I have not experienced bullying, I have not experienced harassment. Now the only question is, do we realize, are we facing it? Do we realize that we just faced harassment? Do we realize we just faced bullying? So in order to understand that, it is important that we understand the concept, we understand the topic, and then only we can think about how to redress it. As rightly pointed out by Mr. Saxena, it's not a legal problem that one law will come and this will go, one judgment will come and this will go. This is a sociological problem. This comes with a lot of mindset which has a historical baggage, which is not only limited to law, but the power relation. When one person thinks that yes, that person has an authority over other, and they can do anything to that person. So this mindset, and this you will not see only in colleges, this you will see on the streets. Just a short example, how entitled people feel to take a stick and beat up a dog on the street. We do feel entitled, right? Because that person doesn't have a authority to turn back and say something to you. Maybe if there is a dog strong enough that will turn back and bite you, then only you might be afraid. But just think about this example. That why do we feel so entitled that we pick up a stick and beat up the dog? Because we feel that that person can't do anything. That dog cannot do anything to me. Now come back to college. Why we feel entitled that yes, we can do something to someone and we can get away with it? I mean, you all are, I'm told that you all are from second year and from law school, from media and from management. I hope you all are here, you must have crossed your first year. I'm not aware that how many of you experienced something or you thought of or you were near to experience that or you were safe. I don't know that. But I'm pretty sure that if there's a full house here, then it is very much clear that all of you at least are interested in this topic. Maybe your professor asked you to come, that it is compulsory, otherwise you'll get some attendance something. I don't know that. But maybe or some fine that you'll have to pay so much of money if you don't come to this lecture. I don't know that. But I believe it, and I want to believe it, that you all are interested in knowing it, because this is something which is very dear to us, which is very near to us. It's not about only this college. Maybe your friend in some other college must be experiencing something. Maybe your brother, maybe your sister, or maybe your elder, your parents must have told you some stories about that. Hey, listen, while I was in college, this happened to me, you know what? And I don't want you to suffer that. So these are the stories which move us, which we need to think about. That how can we just not do it? But before taking this decision that we are not going to do it, is it not important to think that why do we do it? And as rightly pointed out, and I told a few seconds back, that it is a sociological problem. This is a power relation. And this power relation transcends from gender to maybe age, when a senior person always feels entitled. Even it starts from our home. When a senior person feels entitled to tell anything to their junior, a father to a son, a mother to her daughter. We don't question these practices. We don't ask them that why are you saying this to me? Are they always right? Because there is no democracy at home. How can you turn back and say something to your parents? I'm not saying that you just turn back and say to your parents that you're wrong. But what point I'm trying to make, that do we have authority in our home, in our society, to turn back and talk to other person, maybe that person is elder to you, and say that, listen, I don't agree with you. Maybe in our classroom, in our colleges, do we have such practice? Do we have such healthy practice that we can question our professor? We can tell our principal that, sir, I don't agree with you. I think this is not the correct interpretation. It's not that always professors are right. It's not that always your parents are right. And the same manner, the same senior in your college will not always be right, because that just person is just senior. That doesn't mean that the person is right. And whatever he or she is saying is right. So how in a healthy manner do we question that practice? And until and unless we don't question that practice, it is truly futile exercise to go into this question that what are the implications of this. I'll tell you that these are the sections of law. You will be punishable under this offense. But until and unless you don't realize this, because you'll do it somewhere or other, you'll find maybe a place where you think that, oh, nobody can see us, you'll do it there. Because you feel entitled. So to go to the root of the problem, that why somebody engages in the practice of ragging is a question of power structure that we need to understand. I know I may sound a little bit of abstract. These are sociological questions and I'm a lawyer. I am supposed to talk in some section this of IPC says this, UGC regulation says this, but I take this opportunity because I feel that this question is of a sentiment, this question is of an understanding, this question is of a sociological importance, and it has to start from our home, it has to start from our colleges, it has to start from our, maybe you'll go to company, you'll treat your junior, maybe how you are going to treat your peon at the gate, how to your mess worker, how to the sanitation worker in your college. Do you feel entitled that you can say something to that person that, hey, listen, do this? So these are the questions you need to practice. And I don't want to make this lecture as a one-way lecture where I come and say that this is ragging, you should not do this, because I think you all are very smart enough to just Google. I also Googled and got this page, something not very new. Because we all study, we all see what are the regulations. It's not that I have, created something, I have not invented something. I have just, collated some information maybe that can be easier for you to understand. And I'll try my best to do that. But I don't want to make it a lecture where I just come and tell you that this is the provisions and you sit here and listen to it and disperse and go back. It doesn't make a difference. I want this lecture to be an engaging lecture where you can raise the question without any fear, without any inhibition, that you'll be judged for asking any question. You'll be, I don't know what your professors, but I can assure you that I'm not going to judge any person for asking any question which might sound stupid for someone. It's not that. I myself have grown and I have experienced, I have changed over the years. What I used to think while I was in my hometown, while I was growing up, I used to think differently. I went to college, I saw something, I read something, I experienced something. Maybe that brought a little change. I went to different places and that maybe helped me to understand something. And even today I might be wrong on so many occasions. I can't say that I'm right always. My friends, my family members, my seniors, my colleagues, they point out that, hey, listen, how are you talking? Do you think that you make sense? Then I have to reflect and sit back and think that, oh, did I say something wrong? Like our jokes, even our jokes are problematic. We think it's so natural which comes to us. To pass sexist remarks, it's so normal in our society that we pass and we don't even realize. Our songs, our Bollywood, it's so normalized, right? But let us not go into that abstract idea. I'll come back to the question of ragging. And as I said before, that I try to keep it simple, short, and I want you all to ask questions. Maybe we can start with that. Maybe someone can just say that, what they understand. Maybe we can just take two people, one from front, one from back, what they understand and what they think about it. Will anyone volunteer? I'll not pick anyone. I'll not point out that, hey, you stand up like in classrooms, professors do sometimes, and you feel that, okay, you will hide your head down and say, oh, I should not be pointed out. But if anybody wants to volunteer that, Lord, that this is what I understand from this, maybe if somebody thinks that a small friendly banter is okay in the college, you are free to raise that point. Will anyone volunteer in this house from front or back to say something? Their understanding of ragging or what they think? It might not be a definition of ragging, but anything what you think is associated with this topic. So just to get an idea. Okay, no problem. If anybody is interested, you still have maybe 5-10 seconds if anyone wants to say something. Otherwise, we can just proceed. No problem. Can you just help me how do I change this slide here? It's not the one of the most warm welcome when I talking about something like this. And this is indeed a serious topic, and I want you all to, though take it seriously, but don't be very tensed or maybe because there will be some contents and I will be talking about something serious and maybe you might feel uncomfortable. So this is something that I think just as a matter of caveat I want to tell that we'll be discussing something like that. So this is Dr. Rajendra Prasad Government Medical College, and I, Professor, rightly pointed out that the debate on ragging, though it wasn't a new practice, but it took a totally different turn in the year 2009 when it made national headlines. And it was the report by the additional district magistrate which highlighted the illegal model of ragging. This is exactly where Aman Kachu case happened. This report by the district magistrate pointed about different forms of ragging, that yelling abuses at high pitch, standing nude, running around the hostel, masturbating in front of your seniors. Just to tell you as an anecdote, when I went to college, even because that period of time, it was considered to be very funny to do all these stupid things, that they would ask you to put your sleepers opposite, like your right sleeper in your left leg and your left leg sleepers in the right one, and they asked us to put our shirt and wear it, like putting our sleeves on the back like that, and we were running around the hostel, and those days it was popular, I think it was funny to just shout a slogan. I used to live in a hostel named Nasrullah Hostel, and they would ask us to say, "Hum Nasrullah ke dhur rahe hain," and we'd run around the college, and it was fun, We didn't realize we just run 2 o'clock in the night, because that was the time where you can just have your own fiefdom, because there is no warden or nothing. But even if there are wardens, I think because in a lot of colleges and seniors, it is so ingrained and it has been passed from one generation to another that even a lot of professors and a lot of wardens will feel that they are just friendly banter, that don't cry about these small things. Just okay. So you talk to a lot of people and they'll say it's okay, it's just friendly, it's just funny, you don't have to make a big issue about it. Somebody just told you just to sing a song, and I was asked to kiss a tree, and I did that. When I came, I even told my story to all my friends that what I did last night. They asked me to kiss a tree. I did that. And I think that period of time there was this movie Ashik Banaya Aapne. They played that song and say like, yeah, do that. And I did that. I thought that, oh wow, I'm so creative, and I'm so bold. And a lot of machoism also plays into role, right? Because as a man, you think that yes, you can do it. And you have to prove something, right? That you're just not shy. You're a macho person. But over the years, later on, now when I look back, I think about it, that would I have done that stupid act in front of others, given a choice? Certainly not. Will I do it on my own? If I want to dance on a road, I'll dance on a road on my own. That is my choice. But if somebody is asking me to do it, where you don't have an agency to take a call, yes or no, that is problematic. I might run on a road like a stupid person. That is my choice, unless I'm not entering the trap. But if somebody is asking me to do that, where I don't have a choice to make a decision, to make an informed decision, that I don't want to do it, Will that qualify as ragging? Of course, yes. And this was this poor guy, Aman Kachru in this case. This young man, 19 years old, went to a medical college, and we all know that how medical colleges are competitive in our college. He must have went there to become a doctor. His parents must have so many dreams that he'll come out of that college and be a successful doctor. And what he ended up with? He died. Seniors called him in common room, beat him up till the morning, banged his head on the door, on the wall. He succumbed to that injury. We have heard stories that, I don't know personally, but I have heard stories that maybe somewhere in some college, some student was asked to pee on a generator, and they'll get shocked and they'll just, get unconscious. Even in girls' hostel, I have heard stories that when they'll be asked to strip naked, kiss each other, and people, senior students sitting and clapping and having fun because that is so funny, right? It's not that it only happens in boys' hostels, it happens in girls' hostels as well. In my own case, that group who asked me to sing that song and kiss that tree, he called up his girlfriend in another hostel and made me talk to her. And I spoke to her. And I came back as a macho person that, you know what, I spoke to his girlfriend as well. Stupid, right? But you don't realize, a lot of things you don't realize. Maybe I was strong enough to go through that, and I took it as a joke or basically a friendly banter. But a lot of people will feel uncomfortable, right? Talking to a girl whom he doesn't know or whom she doesn't know. Dancing in a hostel, taking off your shirt. It's not that something is very usual about it. It's unusual, it's uncomfortable. And that is how this one case which actually, what made headlines. It's not that it was the first case, but this was a case which actually made headlines. It went to the Supreme Court. And after I think UGC guidelines came in, and the CBI, director of CBI was asked to head a committee, and the court noted, and I quote, ragging can be stopped by creating awareness amongst students, teachers and parents that it is a reprehensible act which does no good to anyone, and by simultaneously generating an atmosphere of discipline by sending a clear message that no act of ragging shall be tolerated and any act of ragging shall not go unnoticed and unpunished. There are two parts. There are two parts to this observation if you see it carefully. That it is reprehensible act which does no good to anyone. So in the first part, Supreme Court is actually trying to go into the root of the cause, that why people do it. Why somebody has to do ragging? To get that sadistic pleasure. Someone is actually in pain and you derive that pleasure, that sadism, right? And next part, Supreme Court rightly so, that any act of ragging shall go unpunished, shall not go unpunished. Because you have to establish a rule of law. You cannot just preach and wait, like somebody will listen to it and they won't do it. Unfortunately, we don't live in such an ideal world. We have to implement laws and follow it strictly. Then what is ragging? Now the most important question, that what exactly is ragging? Do we really understand what all ragging is? What is our understanding of ragging? Can anyone give me an example of ragging? Anyone, please. I think that question is very simple. Anyone, just raise your hand and say that what you understand. What is an act of ragging? Come on, you can do it. Anyone? No one? Okay, students from media. So yes, that's great.
Practice is basically an act where you try to make a person do something that he or she doesn't want to
What's your name? Prerna. Rightly said, Prerna. Rightly said, that is the root of the problem, That the consent, that person doesn't like, and you force yourself on that person. Forget about any act, whether it is asking them to sing a song or to take off their shirt or maybe to run or to do something more heinous. It is actually the point where that person is forced to do something when they are not ready to do that, when they don't want to do that. When you impose yourself on someone else and say that, hey, listen, you have to do it. And why so? Because I am your senior. You have to listen to me. You have to survive here. That is exactly. And how I think the best is how Supreme Court sums it up. Ragging is any disorderly conduct, whether by words spoken or written, or by an act which has the effect of teasing, treating or handling with rudeness any student, indulging in rowdy or indisciplined activities which cause or are likely to cause annoyance, hardship, or psychological harm, or to raise fear of apprehension thereof in a fresher or a junior student, and which has the effect of causing or generating a sense of shame or embarrassment so as to adversely affect the psyche of a fresher or a junior student. I must tell here right now that I'm told that you all are from second year and this session is actually aimed at avoiding ragging when the freshers comes in. But ragging is not limited to when fresher comes in and only second year students are involved in it. Ragging is also in senior batches. And any junior student can be subjected to that. There are many colleges where I've heard that seniors would ask juniors to make assignments for them. We were asked to carry cigarettes for our seniors. We would run from hostel in the afternoon, and they would say that go get cigarettes for us. And we'll run in the afternoon and we'll get cigarettes for our seniors. I think it's very common practice in a lot of colleges. So it's not that only freshers can be subjected to ragging. Any junior student in any batch can be subjected to ragging. So you don't have to think that, oh, listen, this is the lot of a culprit student. It's not that. Don't think that way. Maybe you are in second year. Maybe someone from final year will exercise their authority and power over you. So you are also their subject there. And you are a victim there. Now coming back to the main part, which I think as a lawyer I am supposed to talk about, that what are the legal implications when you engage in an act of ragging? I think I'll skip this part, I'll come back to this part later. I will show you something else. Let's think about this question. Can any form of ragging be good? Can there be a distinction between milder, serious, more serious, heinous? Can there be a distinction? Just let me know when you feel bored, those sitting at the back, because I'll conclude then immediately. I don't want, because I've been there. I used to be a backbencher in my college as well. And we all know that how boring lectures can be. But I'll try to avoid that. And that is how I'm here. The answer is no. A big no. There cannot be any form of ragging. Small, big, serious, non-serious. Ragging is ragging and it is prohibited. It has to be condemned at every level. Now, going back to the first discussion, that why someone engages in the practice of ragging, the idea of toughen up. We have to prepare you. And this is mostly in military colleges, NDA, army. We have this culture of machismo, that you have to toughen up. You have to face, this world is so harsh. Don't be a kid. Don't behave like a girl. These are the comments which you'll often hear, right? This is a short video actually, couple of seconds. I don't know if I can play it here, if the technical person can help me out. I think it's a video and I want to play it, it's a couple of seconds. If, I hope it works. आपने इसको क्या आपने इसको लैपटॉप लगाया है? If you can just see, but how do it? This video needs a player, right? So if it's not in laptop, then it won't play it. Anyways, if it's in the laptop, then I think it should work. If it's much of a problem, then I think we can just skip it. Anyways, so I'll talk about it. Is it working? Okay, fine, no problem. So basically, what was this video about? I just tell you that what this video is. This is actually 40 seconds video, and a cadet is lying on the ground, and his senior is beating him with a hockey stick. And time and again that guy is falling on the ground, they raise him, beat him up on his back. And what's the idea? Toughen up. And what it does actually, when you talk about this idea of toughen up, it kills individuality. You live in a sense of fear. You think that it is the norm. And recently there's this article on this news portal called The Print I was reading. And I came across, that's nicely written by, I think, if I'm not wrong, that is by retired General H.S. Panag maybe. I'll have to check that. And when he talks about that, how in NDA, how this culture of ragging is so normalized under the pretext of training young people, that you have to be trained, you know. And there is unofficial, these things are unofficials, where you'll have to go through physical fitness, and that is how your physical fitness will be tested. How? By beating you to a hockey stick, time and again. And how much you can take it. It's just a short example. There are many other acts. They call it leadership development. You become senior, you carry on the same practice. You think it's okay to ask your junior to, hey, go and get a packet of cigarette, hey, go get a food for me from outside, go buy chocolates for me, do my assignment, sing us a song, entertain us. We are drunk, we want to have fun. Do something for us. This is passed on from one batch to another, where everybody imbibes this practice and it's normalized. And in military colleges, this is considered as a leadership development that you have to face, you have to be strong enough. And then the same thing that end justify means that you know that at the end of the day you'll become a strong person, you'll be a good leader. Why? Because you can just take it. That person failed, that person couldn't take it. That person is not fit to be a leader. So what happens? At the end, that person loses that confidence. That person gives up. A lot of people leave their college, they come back home. I think that a lot of students, they are not even able to talk to your parents. Because not always parents are supportive. They'll say that what happened, they just ask you to sing a song. Maybe that small kid is not in a position to share more details about what happened in the college. They will come back and say that I don't want to go to that college anymore. Are parents supportive? Should they be supportive? The answer to the second question is obviously yes. So it's not between only second year fresher student, it's also about parents, it's also about your teachers, your warden. They all have to play a role. They all have an important role to play. And now, the last part, I think, these are the few legal consequences of ragging, which I think is important one should know, and why one should avoid engaging in the practice of ragging. See, in the first part, I talked about that why it is such an important thing, why it is mostly a sociological problem, and only law cannot be an answer to this. Because I feel so, because these are the practices which we imbibe from a very early period of our life. This entitlement, this power, gender segregation, when you feel entitled over something. These are the root problems. Law is just a small part of that. It cannot be the sole solution that if you want to stop ragging, you have to frame stringent laws, put them in jail, and give them life imprisonment, 10 years, 5 years, whatever. This cannot be the solution. People have to be sensitized that why their act is wrong, why it can destroy someone's life, how your small act can, weaken someone's confidence. Maybe a person came back from a distant village, from a western UP, or from Bihar, or from Orissa, or from Tamil Nadu, and you mock their accent, that hey, your English is so poor. Maybe that person will never be able next to stand in front of any other person and say that I can speak English. We think it's very normal to mock someone's accent. Why it is so funny? We all come from different places. You all in this hall, maybe people are from different states in India. Maybe when you go abroad and you meet people have different accents. And who decides what is the best English? Who decides what is the correct pronunciation? Who told you this? These are questions we need to ask ourselves as well, Do we really understand where that person is coming from? Why that person is talking in the manner, the way they are talking? It's very easy to mock someone. It's very easy to dismiss someone's thought. When somebody says something on a topic, suppose an example on maybe homosexuality. What is your view? What is his view, her view? Do you have a view? Can we not have a healthy debate where everybody, can stand up and say that, listen, what, I think this? Or will you just shut them down that, hey, listen, you don't know anything? So we need to be accommodative, we need to be understanding, we need to engage. We need to be ready to have someone else's perspective. Don't block your head. Because as a student, it is more important that you should just open up. Someone's dressing culture. Maybe a lot of people must be mocked in your college for wearing a dress. Maybe if a guy wore a sari and came to your college, maybe half of you will be laughing at that person. Is it normal to laugh at a guy who wears a sari? Think about all your jokes when you sit next in your party. That what kind of jokes do you crack? Think about it, and you'll get your answer. I think you're smart enough. You just have to think about it. You'll find an answer. Maybe a few literature you'll read. They all are there. Think and ask these questions. Now, legal implications. There are three things actually which are important and you should know. That a lot of ragging happens and those acts, what you do, like asking someone to sing a song, or you put them in a common room and lock them up, or you held them hostage, or you beat them up, or you ask them to do something obscene. These are all covered by Indian Penal Code. Those of you, I try to not make it technical legal because I know that there are students from management and media school. So I need to all understand that these all acts are covered by Indian Penal Code. There are different sections which will deal with different acts. Like Section 294 of Indian Penal Code Act will deal with obscene acts and songs. 323 punishment for voluntarily causing hurt. You might slap a person and think that's okay. That is a offense. That is well covered by Indian Penal Code. 325 punishment for voluntarily causing grievous hurt. You beat up someone, blood comes out. That is punishable. 340 wrongful confinement, which often happens, that you lock someone in hostel room, keep them till the morning, and make them do whatever you want to do. 506 punishment for culpable homicide not amounting to murder. These are all covered by Indian Penal Code, and you can be punished. You can go to jail, and you can face imprisonment, you can face fine. There are separate laws in every, few states have devised their own law. There are 12 states as of now who have their own anti-ragging law, and not all of them have anti-ragging law states. But those who doesn't have a state-specific legislation, they are covered by central legislation. Few states which have specific anti-ragging laws are Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, Chandigarh, Tripura, Tamil Nadu, Assam, Kerala, West Bengal, Goa, and now it's not a state anymore, Jammu and Kashmir. It does have a separate state law. And now the other is institute-specific legislation. AICTE has its own anti-ragging mechanism. Medical Council of India has its own regulations, and the most comprehensive one is of UGC. It's called UGC Regulations on Curbing the Menace of Ragging in Higher Education Institutions, 2009. That is after Kashmir's case. This was framed, and this talks about few things. I'll just tell and I'll conclude. That every college, every institution should have an anti-ragging committee, and it has to be nominated by the head of the institutions, which will have people from civil society and from students, senior, non-teaching staff. It should have a diverse mix of membership in terms of levels as well as gender. So the team has to be, and I hope that your college has such team which takes into team people from all sectors. See how comprehensive this legislation is this regulation is. It talks about non-teaching staff as well. Why it is important to have a non-teaching staff in a ragging committee? Because these are the people who know actually that what is happening in which part of the college. Maybe sometimes a mess, because mess is the place where in mess you're having lunch or dinner and a lot of ragging takes place there. You talk to a cleaning person and they'll tell you that where exactly what is happening. Late at night what happened here. So it is important that you make a very diverse mix of group members. And it is a duty of the committee to actually seek compliance. And one of the important features is anti-ragging squad. It shall be the duty of the anti-ragging squad to make surprise raids on hostels and other places vulnerable to incidents of and having the potential of ragging. So this is important, that if you are informed that ragging is taking place, or you anticipate, maybe mostly during initial months when admission takes place, because those are times when you actually engage mostly in such practices, then that anti-ragging squad has to be very vigilant and take active action. And now, what is the consequence of ragging as per this UGC regulations? Cancellation of admission, withholding, withdrawing scholarships and other benefits, suspension from hostel, restriction from institution for a period of 1 to 4 years, expulsion from an institution and barring from admission in any other institution. So, if fine up to 25,000, imprisonment up to 6 months, which may go up to 10 years. I'll repeat one by one all these things. It's not to make you fear or to say that these are the things which you will be facing, but just to be aware. The idea of this lecture is not that we see you as a culprit or as a potential culprit that you'll be engaging in that. The idea is that we all know that what this law is, so that we can also help each other. Maybe you can be a speaker somewhere else, You can give a talk in some other college. Maybe you can sit on a dhaba while having tea and discuss these things, and can sensitize more people. That will actually bring more good than these lectures. Because I am very much sure that half of you who are sitting in this lecture hall would not have come for this lecture unless your professor asked you to. Because I am standing on a dais, this is a power relation. Where you're sitting there and it feels like I'm an expert giving Gyan to everyone. It shouldn't be like this. It should be a discussion. Where we can just talk about these things without any fear. So what are the consequences? Cancellation of admission, withholding, withdrawing of scholarships and other benefits, suspension from hostel, restriction from institutions for a period of 1 to 4 years, expulsion from an institutions and barring from admission in other institutions, fine up to 25,000, imprisonment up to 6 months to 10 years. So these are the consequences of when you engage in a practice of ragging. And to conclude, I must say that respect diversity, accept people the way they are, be nice to each other. It's very simple and it's nice. It doesn't take much effort to be nice to your juniors, to your seniors. And build a strong relationship. These are the things which you'll cherish, In colleges, we are just taught like a factory. You come, you get degree, you get job. But as you progress in your life, you'll realize that these things doesn't matter much actually. Happiness is important. You don't want to be a person to be a successful entrepreneur maybe 20 years later and something is haunting you back in your head that you have done some wrong to someone. Don't be that person, because you cannot come back and undo that. You should cherish your college. You should have beautiful memories. That I had wonderful time in college. I'm in contact with my juniors or my seniors, and I cherish that bond. And that satisfaction when you help someone. I'm indebted to many seniors in my college, in my school. A lot of people helped me out, from different times. Some family crisis, some personal crisis. And these are the strong support system in colleges, because now when you are in college, we all know that we spend most of our times in colleges. And this is our support system. Maybe you had a terrible breakup. Maybe you had a terrible financial crisis back at home. Maybe you are going through a lot. So this is the place where you actually look up to. That maybe your college friends, your seniors, your professors, your wardens can help you out. That is how I conclude myself. Thank you everyone.
Seniors and juniors. Sir, I would like to tell you that nowadays the trend has totally changed and now juniors are writing seniors.
What is
Hello.
So what they are doing, they are putting steroids in the muscles and they are coming like this in the college. And they are thinking in their mind that I can do anything. So that's what happening in our college nowadays.
Sir, my question to you is कि आपने बोला कि like अगर कोई लड़का साड़ी पहन के आ जाए तो like लोग उस पे हंसेंगे, तो नहीं हंसना मतलब like it's like incorrect. Please silence. I understand my that would be a funny thing. So is it inappropriate to laugh at that guy, because वो तो बड़ा humanly nature में आ जाएगा कि अगर कोई लड़का मुझे साड़ी मतलब दिखे.
So my name is Kapil and I'm from BJMC second year. सर आपने एक स्लाइड दिखाई थी जिसमें आप बता रहे थे कि आर्मी वाले जो होते हैं वो बेटे ना बोलते हैं तो उनको डाउट नहीं होता. तो बेसिकली एक टैगलाइन है आपकी कि जितना रगड़ा उतना खतरा. अगर आप किसी भी एक आर्मी वाले को इतना मारोगे नहीं, मान लो अगर कोई वहाँ का रॉका बंदा जो भी है वहाँ का बंदा पकड़ लेता है और उसको मारता है, उससे सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन निकलवा लेगा. तो अगर उसको पिट के वो इतना तैयार ही नहीं हो पा रहा है आर्मी वाला, फिर वो कैसे इतना ट्राई करता है.
the teacher who was present in the class, she was like, why are you dressed like a jail ka kaidi? So
would we count that as ragging?
We can finish this lot of questions, and then next round we can take more questions. I'd be very happy to answer as much as I can, because I think this is the sole purpose of this session. I would be very happy from that part of the hall if somebody wants to ask questions, because it's actually the indicator that you engage, you heard, and you want to engage in future. So coming back to the first question is this gentleman raised about juniors harassing seniors. Might be the case, maybe the case. I'm not saying that it's always seniors harassing juniors, but is it a norm? Is it an exception? In my opinion, it might be an exception. Mostly, if you'll see the practice, if you'll see the data, if you'll see the cases which has happened in past, it is actually seniors harassing juniors. So we have exceptions in everything. We'll hear all these things, that this law is misused by someone. If it happens, this will be misused by someone. I'm talking about exception. No denial about it, that maybe a junior first year student who might be very strong, influential, might bully a senior, might beat up a senior. But that is not the norm. Norm is usually when most of the seniors, because they are there in the college, they are well acquainted, they have friend circle, a fresher is alone who comes to the college, and that is how they are more vulnerable. The junior is more vulnerable, the power relation is different. So no doubt about it. Second question which you asked, that is it not funny if a male wears a sari, and why should we not laugh at it? See, this question is very important, and I'm glad you raised it. That what is normal? It's okay, why are you standing? No, he doesn't have to stand. Please sit. No, please sit. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. Now, we need to ask question, what is normal? Ask this question to yourself. How a guy should behave, how a girl should laugh, how you should dress, how you should comb your hair, what dress you should wear. Are these questions well settled, or there is a scope where we can differ? This idea of normal is dangerous. This is often used to bully people. This is often used to segregate communities in our society. When you don't conform to the majority opinion, you are branded as someone who is, delinquent. I don't want to wear a pant shirt. I don't like it. I'm not comfortable. What stops me from wearing that? The next day I might be mocked for the way I look. Will that be normal? Question like black and white. Why black and white are, often ostracized for the color people belong to? Are these not questions which is pertinent to ask? Who is smart? Who is handsome? Who defines what is handsome? Who has set the agenda for Miss Universe? That this is how the best person should look like. These are the questions we should ask. Now, what is normal? What is beautiful? What is best? One who scores highest marks in the class is the best student? Maybe someone doesn't like the course they are studying here. Maybe someone's parents just ask them to go to college and get a degree. Think about it. I don't have an answer to your question. But in my opinion, everybody is free. It is a free country. It is a democracy. You're free to choose the way you want to dress, the way you want to eat. Nobody should stop you. And just mark this. This is a very dangerous precedent. Once we say that yes, everybody has right to stop you from doing something, this will not stop till clothes. This will not stop. They will tell you that you dress like this. They will tell you to eat like this. They will tell you to walk in a certain manner. Think about these things. It is a dangerous thing to actually, in a democracy, think about a situation where you just dictate someone, their personal behavior. So we have conditioned that manner. In home, when you will do something weak, your parents will tell. नहीं लड़कियों की तरह बिहेव मत करो, थोड़ा स्ट्रांग बनो। बच्चों के खिलौने कैसे होते हैं? लड़कियों को डॉल देते हैं, लड़कों को गन देते हैं। Think about these small things, right? Why is this so? Next time you go home and just see in your neighborhood or your family, what kind of toys do these kids have? Maybe a lot of parents don't realize while buying these things. It has become so normal to buy dolls for, girls and guns for male kids. It's so normal. Who created this? Think about these questions. I don't have an answer to that. But certainly, there's nothing but normal. It's not funny. Now the third question which was posed by you is army practice is good or bad because they have to face tough situations. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. There should be rigorous training because our army officers have to face difficult situations. They are posed in most difficult environment. There has to be training. But that training is a defined module where everybody has to go through. You can't pick up a cadet from their room and beat them up in the corridor. That is not training. If training is happening, 50 cadets come in a playground, run, climb that rope, climb that mountain, do this, do that. That is a module, that is a set, process of doing that. But not like you're sleeping in your room and your senior comes up and say, listen, just run 4 times in this playground because I want to have some fun tonight. That is not training. That is dragging, that is bullying, that is harassment, that is a crime. Now, coming back to a question now, a man beat up a dog and that dog died. Now, right now, the case is pending to the Supreme Court and cruelty to animals. It started from that Jallikattu debate where, if you have followed that news, that how in Tamil Nadu there is a festival where bulls are actually people just fight bulls, and they're just mad, and it has been heard that they're actually intoxicated at times. There's chili powder thrown in their eyes. There's a lot of practices which are very so it is a crime when you do that cruelty to an animal. Now, your question that how a teacher commented in jail ki kaidi wan kiya, and it's totally inappropriate and condemnable. This is not warranted and a teacher should refrain from doing such. It is totally unacceptable behavior that a teacher comments like this. A teacher is no one to comment on your dress. If a regulation is there in the college, few colleges now make rule that girls should not wear skirt, they should wear shalwar, kameez and dupatta. That regulation has to be checked on the parameters of law. Is it violative or not violative? Now we are having a debate where girls should have a time restriction of 6 p.m. or not. Everything should be questioned. Safety is important. But whether safety measures are discriminatory, that has to be tested. Whether it violates Article 14 or not. The discrimination is causing, segregation of a community. It's a problem. You cannot, under the garb of safety, do whatever you want to do. And a lot of parents buy this idea, that उस कॉलेज में भेजेंगे, लड़की को बाहर निकलने नहीं देते हैं तो safe रहेगी. Of course, safety is a concern because we don't live in an ideal society. I don't know about this part of the town, but a lot of areas are not safe. Fair enough. But what about all those practices where people are just not allowed to do a lot of things which have no security concern? They are just morality, public morality. You define moral, like what is good, what is bad, as you raise this question. This is inappropriate for girls. This is inappropriate for a certain class of students. These are the questions which we need to ask because morality is not fixed. If you follow the Naz Foundation case by Delhi High Court, where homosexuality, where 377 was struck down, that consensual sex among homosexuals is not a crime. These questions were because the two arguments given up by the Union of India, there are two tests. It doesn't pass public morality test, and it is medically, a practice which has medical concerns. And both were dealt with by the High Court in detail, And see, morality is not a concept which you can impose on someone. This was again dealt by the Supreme Court in another case, but that case was not dealt with in detail. But the High Court was pretty detailed one, and more recently you have seen that how Supreme Court upheld the judgment. The other case was of a dance bar in Bombay, Mumbai. That only hotels which has 3-star, they were permitted to run dance bar, and those which didn't have a 3-star category, they're not permitted. So it means that all those rich people who can afford 3-star, they're cultured to enjoy dance bar, but all those people who are poor enough living in jogis, they don't have morality. Supreme Court struck down that law. That doesn't pass the test of equality. That is a discrimination.
I'm confused a bit between your first answer and your second answer. First you talked about majority, okay? Like majority लोग क्या करेंगे? सीनियर्स जूनियर्स को बुली करेंगे, जूनियर एक सीनियर को बुली कर रहा है तो वो एक एक्सेप्शन है। अब हम लड़के क्या पहनते हैं, टी शर्ट जीन्स, अगर कोई साड़ी में आएगा तो वो एक एक्सेप्शन है। अगर हम हंस रहे हैं तो आई डोंट थिंक इट्स रॉन्ग ऑन आवर सोसाइटल बिहेवियर और एनीथिंग, क्योंकि ये तो हमें बचपन से सिखाया जा रहा है कि लड़के क्या पहनेंगे, यही पहनेंगे। अब कोई साड़ी पहन के अलग से आएगा तो हंसी तो आएगी ना। So how do we stop that? Like it's not ragging if you are laughing on him. It's not making fun of his situation. He can wear whatever he wants, but I think I didn't understand your answer.
My name is Niji. The question to you is like, ragging is something which is being developed in us initially, right? It's a dominating behavior, the superior behavior. We're imposing or we're putting on the others who are the victims of it. But like, if we go back and it's developing initially, so I shouldn't start in the school for the lectures or the classes. Like we are taught right now for the sex education in the school. We have a different subject. So why not this social behavior, the social surrounding subject should also be included in the syllabus of the school children, because it's basically their stage where it starts the beginning. The beginning starts from there. So why does when we reach college and then it starts that we should not do ragging? Why not in the school itself? The classes, some special lectures, or even a subject maybe of 5 or 10 marks that should be included.
See, your question, gentlemen, about साड़ी पहन के आएगा तो हंसी तो आएगी ना, पर हंसी तो फिर आपके ऊपर भी किसी को आ सकती है, मेरे ऊपर भी किसी को आ सकती है, किसी के ऊपर आ सकती है। पर क्या ये नॉर्मल है कि अगर मैं हंसूं या मेरे ऊपर कोई हंसे, कि इसके तो देखिए इतने सारे दाढ़ी है, ये बाल इसका वाइट है, ये कैसा पैंट पहन रहा है। तो just think, put yourself into that person's shoes and think about it, that when you're crossing the road and somebody is passing a comment, and will you enjoy it? How will you feel about it? Definitely the answer is very clear that you will not appreciate it. So, मुझे हंसी आती है किसी दूसरे के ऊपर, ये आपका एंटरटेनमेंट है, ये आपका ओपिनियन है, और ओपिनियन चेंज होता है। हम बचपन से जब बड़े होते हैं, then we change, we realize that gender, if you read literature and the idea of sexuality, that how gender is a constructed thing, a person is not born male or female. The gender is a construct which maybe a lot of people don't associate themselves with any gender. So who's a boy, who's a girl, how a boy should behave, these are the constructs which the society teaches you. We'll often see in our families that when a girl laughs loud, not many, all families, but where they'll be saying, hey, thoda tameez se hanso. This is not the way a girl should laugh. But as a boy, you are free. Look at the way you sit in the metro. Who spreads their leg and who doesn't. Just notice that when you go in a metro. Why these things are so important? We have to think about it. So it's not normal, we are taught, we are conditioned in a manner that this is like this. You read books, you realize that these are actually a made up thing, and this can be undone. Once you're informed, the idea is to be informed. We are not informed person, You look at a black person, you start laughing. Your accent. So many misconceived notions which we have. So many labels which we have. And not you as a student. Unfortunately, even people in senior position, judiciary, Supreme Court judges. I was in a high court, a judge said in a case, I was representing a refugee. He was about to be deported. I was fighting for him that he cannot be deported because he belongs to a country where there is a civil war. The law prohibits sending him back because he will die if he goes there. Judge says, "Aapko pata hai what these people do in our country?" That person doesn't have any criminal antecedent, but the judge has a preconceived notion, have a notion that these people come and they engage in certain activities which are illegal. Are they all doing it? No, definitely not. It's not only about people here in this college or maybe outside this road. Unfortunately, this law is sitting in Parliament, this law is sitting in Supreme Court, this law is sitting in High Court, many other powerful positions where they have their own preconceived and very rigorous antique ideas. Unfortunately. Coming back to your question, what is your name, may I ask? Meeti, you have raised a very, very important question, and I must compliment you for this. And this is exactly the problem, because our education system is such that we don't address a lot of things at an initial level. We don't teach our kids when they're growing up to wash their plate and keep it back to the kitchen. We don't teach our kids to behave in a proper manner. We teach them bad things, and it becomes very difficult at a later stage to actually do away with all those practices. So these education at a primary level is the need of the hour, and very rightly pointed out that once this starts, I think a lot of problem will be sorted out. Good question.